All right. Hey guys,
Hi
Hello.
guys.
welcome to the stream. Man, I'm already annoyed by this because I forgot again to change the latency on YouTube to low, so it will take forever again to get information or to get messages from people, which is always, oh man, trying to get better with this. Yeah, so today we want to talk a bit about student problems. I wanted to talk a bit about data sets that students use a lot and so on. For everybody who's listening, let us know your questions in the chat. We're going to answer all of them. Yeah, let's just kick this off. How was your week, guys?
Well, actually, it was pretty good. I got a lot of questions from students with questions regarding design, architecture design, and usually it's the step that I like most. Uh, Definitely like thinking and trying to make this high level, like charts and connect things once with each other. It's like the best scenario for me. So I really enjoyed this week the coaching sessions with the students. It was really good.
Nice.
It was really good.
You, Arockia?
Yeah, mine was fine too. And yesterday I had a coaching session with our bootcamp students. Yeah, as usual, yeah, students are in different phase, each and every one. Yeah, we discussed with some students about their progress as well as I think there are some couple of students who just started this month. So we discussed about their architecture and what to do next week. And so like usually I ask this question to every student when they start when they attend the coaching session. So what have you done last week? And like what do you want to do next week? Do you have any issues? Are you stuck somewhere? So this is the starting point of our conversation every week. Yeah,
Mm.
and like as usual, yeah, it went smooth.
Yeah, nice. I had a lot of this end of last week because the coaching was starting on Monday, right? So last week I had a lot of talks with people, a lot of strategy calls. It was the interesting part was I added to the website again that we also help analysts and not just engineers. And I had a lot of analysts actually get in touch. Also from the new group, a few people are analysts. It's very interesting that they are, or that many, I would say, are stuck in the old, like old technology, old tools. They're working with Oracle, they're working with stuff like SSIS and so on. And they're actually really stuck in their journey and want help to help them like get to the cloud, work on the newer tools, figure out how they can actually get around or get more knowledge than just doing the transformations and so on in the data store, actually getting the data in. I found that very interesting, and it's for a lot of analysts it's the same thing. They come with the same problems.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Here in Argentina, there is a lot of consultancy companies. So usually, this type of business, they usually tend to have like more projects on cloud, and it's easy for them to like be on the wave of the new tech stack. Um, but yeah, I also know like well the bank, for example, they
Mm.
always have all technologies all over the department, and definitely like sometimes switching between business or different type of companies, it's also kind of a good way to go with different tools and technologies. I believe, and it happens to me also when I was like studying and switching between companies and product oriented or consultancy. And usually in consultancy, it's easier to like grasp different new technologies and
Mm.
propose obviously propose new ones also. Yeah.
Do you want to chat about the question that is in the chat? There's some projects I feel are not on production level, like 100% automated, because in production we create resources and use CI/CD and stuff. I think it's an important topic. Like Arockia, you're working a lot with freelance in your company with other companies. How would you say?
Yeah, when we talk about this production pipelines and stuff, so like usually to the bootcamp students, to like mostly everyone I have come across in the past 6 months, I suggest them starting with CI/CD, at least with GitHub Actions and like infrastructure as code. So this is the de facto standard in like every data engineering teams nowadays. So no one touches and create like resources or infrastructure manually. Even in startups or like mid-sized companies now, if they have like normal team, at least 3 or 4 people, they always going to use this GitHub Actions or like or this GitLab CI/CD pipelines. So this would be my first recommendation. So like I usually gauge the level of students in our boot camp. So once they are comfortable with the basic cloud infrastructure and stuff, I usually push them to create infrastructure via CI/CD and via infrastructure as code. So like this is the way they should like move forward when they really want to get some job nowadays, because it is no more like normal where like when I did data, so like when I was like doing the data engineering boot camps 5 or 6 years ago. So it was like really impressive outside when you show some data engineering project, when you draw like architecture, that is completely fine. So like nowadays the expectation became completely different. So even from the fresher, they are expecting that he should know about infrastructure as code, and then like automatically provisioning the resources as well as monitoring the data pipelines. So like this is the basic guidelines nowadays. This is what I see outside.
Yeah, I think that turned because I remember what was that, 2 3 months ago, we brought that up, and I also were posting about it, and I also saw guys like Zach Wilson say, "Oh no, that is not that. You don't need that. Nobody needs that." And maybe that's right for fan companies, but nowadays, now everybody's jumping on that train as well because it's needed.
Yeah.
Uh, and also there is this kind of we also mentioned this about the T-shape software engineer. Like you can be good or really good at one skills in the whole ecosystem of data engineering, but then definitely to get better and to like grow up in your career and be more senior, if you want to call like that. You need to like get some knowledge from machine learning, get some knowledge from DevOps, security. uh, I mean, it's on the track also, like so there is also another question on the chat, and I believe that we can connect it, both of them. And and regarding uh, the reason to not become a data engineer is like, now is like Arockia says, it's difficult to get the first job. It's like you have to get a lot of knowledge. It's difficult to be a junior data engineer and enter a company because of this. You have to uh, come with like a bag of a lot of experience and knowledge and different tooling, and also a bit of DevOps, a bit of machine learning, and definitely it's not that easy as a few years ago when you just build some project, go with streaming and say, hey, I know streaming, okay, you're hired.
You're hired,
It was
yeah.
it was something like that. Perhaps you just mock some data and you play around with that. But yeah, it was the difficult thing on data engineering, and that's it.
Yeah,
Um,
I think so as well. Like people, re- so around 2022 on something 2021, like they were hired. If you had data engineering on your resume somewhere, you were hired. Okay, we're hiring you. Nowadays, where they're letting a lot of people go, and they are very tight on this, and you need to bring a lot of stuff. Yeah, we are doing a post about the T-shaped model or T-shaped skills. I think next week or something. I have something planned around that because it's an important topic that people need to realize. Not only going deep, but also adding a bit wide.
Yes, Andreas, I would be really looking forward to your post because many people, so like nowadays, I think over the past couple of weeks, I got many questions from people regarding this T-shaped model. As a data engineer, what should be the horizontal line? So I will be looking forward to your post,
Yeah,
like what you have to say about it.
interesting. Okay, yeah, it's. I mean, it's normal because it's getting so difficult to get a job. What is it that you need, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but regarding why not to become a data engineer? I mean, we still struggle with the old topics, right? If you hate working on data all day and trying to fix problems and working in the background, not being that much appreciated as the nowadays the AI developer or the AI guys, then most likely it's not for you. I think.
yeah,
Yeah.
I had one thing regarding that. I really like when like an experienced data engineer talked to me once in the past and said, "Hey, do you want to be like you like the cameras, the light, like showing off your mother how much money it save from the company? Well, you need to be uh, data science. It was on that time. There isn't anything regarding or machine learning engineer, something like that. And then he say, but like this quote from Spider-Man: "With great power comes great responsibility, and if you want to have the cameras on, it fails, you will be in trouble, you know. But then, if you are a data engineer, you don't have to run in production, you don't have to deploy on every day on the week, and you don't get calls like 3 a.m. in the morning saying, "Hey, something is broken here on your prediction pipeline. Please fix it." And I say, "Oh, I really like data engineer. I don't want to be called at 3 a.m. To solve something." I mean, I know there is a lot of things that are automated and also, but it was nice this like super outliers comparison on what can happen between the two of them, and definitely I prefer to work in the background and solve things and don't have to run and be super exposed to everyone.
Yeah, that
It's
when the
it's my type of job, you know. It's my type of personality on that. But yeah,
yeah, also that you don't have to react to other people that like, oh, the management from this department now wants this, so let's get on. Let's do this immediately. They need this yesterday, and it's like we don't have that. That's true. That's true. What I want to say something else about the codes. Yeah, but I want to address something regarding that it's so difficult to get a data engineer job right now. I think a lot of people trying to make that switch right now. They're an analyst and they want to get into the engineering role, but they don't have any experience with actually doing engineering. And I've been talking, as I said, I've been talking over the past weeks with a lot of people that are interested in the coaching program. By the way, we need to call this coaching and not bootcamp, so that people don't get confused. And a lot of people are actually said, don't try to make this hard switch because you have all that knowledge in the analytics area, in the analyst area. So why would you try to lose this and make a hard cut to engineering where you don't, or where it looks like you can leverage that background knowledge or that analyst knowledge, right? So I think that is a mistake that a lot of people do, and they think I need to make that hard switch instead of just adding that additional knowledge on top of what they already work with to get basically more dangerous in a company to be able to do more and to bring more value. I think that is something that a lot of people misunderstand, and a few of the new ones actually were thinking about this, and I explained it to them, and yeah.
Yeah, you're right, Andreas. The first thing I see is like, so people they actually overwhelm the know themselves with the available tools out there. So when they open LinkedIn, so to be honest, you get like lot of things about MCP servers, data engineers should learn AI agent, and like they should do DuckDB, they should do this iceberg, then and that. So like I usually start saying someone like, okay, you are data analyst, at least you have some knowledge. So start with SQL, Python, and like one like orchestration tool.
Yeah.
Yeah, like get like comfortable with that, then like add some tools based on the project you are doing, because they usually overwhelm. They students really want to have some like big perfect architecture in their first data engineering project, so that they can cover everything and they can show employer they did everything when applying. So this is not how it works,
Yeah.
because you can just copy, you can actually clone like other GitHub projects into your repository, and you can tell them like, yeah, I did everything. So at the end of the day, like nowadays also recruiters as well as technical managers, they are very well aware that like that you can use like lot of tools to prepare for interview like GPTs, and you can draw some nice architectures, so they know how to question you, so like during the interview. uh, so unless until you are like I so like again it comes to that T shape. You need to be like, you are expected to have strong knowledge in SQL, Python, and some like basic stuff. So like knowledge can be trained but not mindset. So yeah, you should be comfortable, you should be strong in SQL, Python, and some basic stuff like that, then you can improve your knowledge in the rest of the stuff. And also companies nowadays, they concentrate on asking questions around data modeling or some basic like data engineering questions to gauge your understanding of the topic, rather than asking you about like DuckDB or iceberg and so on, at least for the beginner level positions.
It's also not that everybody has this, right?
Yeah.
Like, I know and you said it, like there are always new tools and always new things that you find on the internet, and everybody says it's super important, you need to do it. And I mean, I'm creating stuff for the AI engineering track for the academy, right? So we're also going a bit in that direction, because simply it's a lot of people ask for it, but when you look into it, like, it's not a big deal. I was just recording this week. I was recording the semantic search course with Qtrend as the vector store, and with Streamlit as the user interface, and with an API to actually create the embeddings and so on. It's so simple. Like, people make a huge thing out of this. It's not. If you know a few things and you can do a bit of engineering and understand when to host an API and what that method does, and like, it's not a big deal.
Uh, I had two things in mind regarding all of this, and one thing I usually tend to notice between different students and also some people that I work with is like uh, nobody wants to fail, but nobody takes advantage of failing. Like I say to the students on the coaching program, I say, hey, document everything, also your mistakes
Yeah.
and your learnings about your mistakes, because it's like Arockia says, it's something that is going to happen, and it's good that it happens to you in your learning process, and and do your research, or you make something to fix that. And there is the learning part, like I learned this because of this. It's like a consequence of your mistakes, and it's good to everyone will fail or will commit some mistake or errors and somewhere. And it's good to notice them and to show that you learn how to fix that. Or perhaps you find a bug in the framework, and then you make a PR to the open source community. It will happen.
Yeah.
Eventually it will happen. And that's something that everyone is like, oh no, I want to put in my GitHub uh, something super smooth and perfect, that I don't have any errors on anywhere in my pipeline. And that's usually that's not true. You will face something in the loop.
Yeah.
And that was something good to, yeah, to bring here right now. uh and yeah, I think you want to say something, Andreas, so go
Yeah,
go.
I just want to tie in with what you started with earlier, that people can basically just copy the GitHub from someone and do or act as if it's their own. But if you actually do this, if you actually go in and you also talk about what didn't work, where you had problems, how you overcome this problem, then somebody who reads it can actually see, okay, this is not just copied from somewhere. These are the problems, and they can pick these out, and they could ask you these in an interview, like ask a bit more about it, just to find out, have you really done this? Like, what are your skills? And I think that is super important. And as I said, like having a completely polished GitHub, it needs this.
Yeah, and also Andreas, do we have something like sample GitHub repository for documentation, probably in the cookbook you have or somewhere?
I mean, for the academy students, we have that one in the successful job application course.
Okay.
I always send people to that, but in the cookbook, I don't have one. No, I mean, yeah,
Okay.
it's
Okay.
pretty straightforward. So that's, yeah, you can send people there if they need something. But I mean, Manuel just did one. He sent me his. Oh man, I ate something before the before our chat, and now I need to cough all the time. He sent me his to check. Really nice, like with visualizations, with explaining. Where he also splitted this into multiple repositories, so he has one that actually shows everything, and then you can click and you can go into the individual parts. Stuff like that is really good.
Yeah, yeah. Because I even thought to create something like, something like an empty template. Like for example, the things we discussed, something like students must have like plan something like architecture, what real problem does it solve, and at the end like lessons learned from this project, something like that.
Then take a look at that template, and I mean, you can modify this. Just modify it, and we switch this out, and we use this.
Okay,
This
then
this
I will.
this can use some improvement, of course.
Yeah,
That would
sure.
be cool.
Okay.
There
Yeah.
is there, I'm sorry, Santiago.
No. I was thinking the other point I also have, and regarding something Arockia says also, that I came from medicine, so I was a medical doctor, and I switched to data engineering. And one thing that I really like about medicine on that is they tend us to start with, when I was on the university, we started with definitions. Like we started with grounding basis, like to learn the bones, the muscles, then the nerves, the veins, the arteries. So, and then I switched that to data engineering, and I went into the fundamentals, like learning what is a data pipeline, what is a pull push approach, what is a streaming batch processing, what is, I know. So gathering all that information, and learning about the definitions of something, then I could build up upon that. Like I was like now I have the knowledge, but in that moment when I was starting, I was saying like, what is a data warehouse? I don't know. And everyone in the company was talking about, well, we have to work the data warehouse. It's full of tables, and I say, hey, this might be something like a Postgres or something like that. And I didn't know. I was just starting, and definitely knowing the basics on that is easier than also for when everyone is talking about new technologies or AI, you can relate with something on the fundamentals. Say, it's just this, but with different names. And that is also important to, or something that I want to bring up here in the conversation.
Yeah, I think that is super important. I try to do that in the platform and pipeline design course to like give people a hint on, okay, this is how this is going to look like all the time. That's what streaming, that's what's batch processing. These are this is how a data lake works, and it's always the same thing, and all these kind of things leading up to this is how a modern data platform looks like. I think that is very important. And with the tools, I want to quickly pitch something for the listeners and for the watchers here, because what we have is we have actually on the website a tools guide that you can download here when you scroll down here, a tools guide for us engineers. And what this has in there actually is a categorization of, okay, these are the tools that you usually find. These are the categories where they fit into a data platform, and also in comparison, these are other tools that are in the same category. This way you can easily find out, okay, that's how a data platform usually looks like, because that platform blueprint is in there as well. And then these are the tools that fit, so that when you hear, now I actually need to add vector stores to this, so that when you hear Pinecone, you know Qtrend is the same thing. It's like, or when you hear, what's the one on AWS, DynamoDB, you know, okay, that's something like Cassandra, and stuff like that. I think is very important.
Yeah, definitely. And also, like when you get well or knowledge on one cloud, and then you have to go to the other one, and you say, oh, what is like Dataproc on AWS? It's EMR. Oh, okay. So you
Yeah.
need you had to work with that. Like I lost a lot of interviews just for that, because I didn't know the naming on another cloud, and they say, oh, come on, I need to learn this. And that's also super useful to like grasp everything in one cloud and try to map that technology to the other one. uh, in the end, again, they are the same with different naming, and yeah, and that's it.
Yeah, it's true. It's the same thing. Arockia was looking like if you want to say something.
No, not really. I was thinking about a couple of points from the coaching session.
Okay.
Yeah, Andreas?
I want to react to a comment here. Otherwise, then we can chat about this, because this thing is something that really drives me crazy. Like, everybody's talking here. Do you think the proportion of unstructured data will increase in data engineers' role in the near future? And I like this whole unstructured data topic. This drives me crazy, because everybody is fucking on this unstructured data, and for years people, unstructured data is super important. But always when you look at this, you can structure it. You will, like when you think about the lakehouse concept, you have a data catalog, and then in the data catalog, the data looks again like tables. Like, it's always, except with AI, where you store the data in an unstructured text, people are always trying to bring this into a structured way. and because the tools are there, the Santiago mentioned the data warehouses. It's always the same. So I think this is a bit of a over. It's not hyped, but like people lay too much focus on this because most stuff is still in a structured way. Like, what do you guys think?
So, like practically speaking, Andreas, I saw many projects where company stored this unstructured data as blob in in like regular relational database, and they don't even care to do to extract some meaning from those blobs. So that is in most companies, but I see some companies they really want to extract some useful information. Maybe like big names they want to find meaning of all the data, but like most companies even now they don't care, they just dump it and they will stay in their relational database as blob forever. But they start to realize nowadays because of the vector dbs and the evolution of ai. So like there are at least one or two engineers, machine learning engineers or like data engineers in the company. They try to follow this modern architecture, having this like blob in something like an object storage, and like use the metadata in relational or like like non-relational databases. They try to find the meaning of this, something like that. But yeah, I feel this kind of like knowledge, like this kind of work have to be like first of all understood well within the companies, and they start to realize how it can bring value to the company if they bring meaning out of them. Still there is a lag behind this, like non like objects that the industries or companies have.
Yeah, and that's I think that's a great point because they lack the way of generating value from it.
Yeah.
With what they're usually working with, and I mean we see this all the time when we look what companies do, and when we read the job description, when I talk with people what they're doing right now, it's very traditional. Data's coming in, it's structured data, it gets written into a data warehouse, people analyze it, or it gets streamed or processed in a more of a transactional way. That's where what most companies are working with. And the new stuff with, okay, now we feed the data into an LLM and try to get results and ask questions about it. Is that really a big deal? I think when I look at that stuff, it's not super big deal of setting this up and working with it. I think it's, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes also I think that people misunderstand the concept of structured, semi-structured, and unstructured data. Like they call unstructured data because they use a MongoDB or something like that, and NoSQL, and they say, I have unstructured data," and it's just different schemas or a schema evolution, and not something like unstructured data. Uh, and definitely now with the LLMs, this thing of like having a kind of personal or in-house chats that you can review the whole documentation from your company, or I know regulatory things or legal things on the company. uh, I think this like bring this up here of how to process that, how to is going to be the like the trending topic, the next trending topic of if you know how to process and like classify unstructured data, you get hired as a data engineer. Perhaps it can work. It can be like the new wave and the new hype, and some skill that is going to be like demanding. The companies will demand that on the job descriptions. But again, I believe that I don't want to be like annoying with this, but again, is fundamentals of engineering. How I will process this and focus on the three B's, like which volume, which frequency, which variety, and that's it. It's not that that hype. It's like we need to learn and think about that, and make something resilient and independent on the end, and that's it.
True. I don't want to jump into like from question to question. I feel like I always like I push this. Like, okay, what do you think? Like,
Uh, so do you want me to answer this, Andreas?
I
Or
don't know. Like,
so I felt that in a sarcastic way. So
no.
yeah, there are several problems here, Andreas. That's actually one call. It's not enough to discuss about these issues because the countries like in Germany. So every time I give interview, when I talk about my last project, at least one person will tell like we don't want to go beyond the buzzword. When like SQL server works for us, it works. We don't want to change. When like Excel database works for us, it works. We don't want to change. Then how you can explain them about it's like not everyone like that, but there will be like one among the interviewers or one from kind of partially like minimally technical, more on the managerial side. They always wonder about why we need this like data lake, why we should do this LLM and stuff and so on. uh,
Uh,
so yeah, so like this and also the enterprise level security, when and we talk about public cloud and like other stuff, yeah, we have these issues too. So we need to address these kind of issues, and at the same time there are 50% of like managers or like technical leaders, they are open to explore like new technologies and stuff. But like when you start with like mid size or like large scale enterprises, they always have this security framework where you need to get approval even to use a single service in the public cloud, say for example S3 bucket or like DMS or lambda functions. You need to get approval separately. So there are like lot of blockers here. So like this should be addressed, to be honest, before we train data engineers to use everything. So like that's why I was always stressing like start with Python, SQL, data modeling, and like scheduling. Like then jump to like anything. And like I even remember like one of your viral post last week. So like this artificial intelligence is just data engineering. Yeah. so
true.
so I actually felt it got viral for a reason.
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course,
yeah,
of course.
so yeah, you need to get your basics strong. So like basics is everything. Still, basics is everything. So and I also remember this one thing specifically. So I don't want to name anyone. So like one of the student, he actually mentioned like. So he felt like chat gbt is like, so it's something like an official like documentation. So he told like I asked ChatGPT to generate code for Lambda function, but it is no more working. I don't know why. Yeah. So like if we don't like understand and learn the basic stuff, so I sometimes feel this is where we are going. So like do companies are going to pay for one data engineer to just write some like prompts on chat gbt and paste it in like services? So like this is where the point, like every budding data engineer should understand, like make your basics strong.
Yeah,
So this is the key point.
Um,
true.
I want to write something there also, because when you face different kind of tech leads or managers, like the fully managed part, and like a mix between tech and management, and definitely you face different type of communications there, because if you have to explain to a non-technical person what is a data lake and why we need it. It's like it recalls me this quote from Docker, that it says, "Well, it works in my computer. I don't know why it doesn't work on yours." Like you wash your hands and you say, "Hey, in my computer it works." And these type of questions from managers when they are like non-technical and they say, well, why we need this? And I think that in there is perhaps I think that some industries they have this kind of mindset of it works as is. I don't want to. I'm afraid of change. That is the fear behind the scenes is the change. You know, like I don't want to change this. This is working. I don't care if the users or consumers need to wait 5 minutes more. It works, and that's it. I don't want to change anything, and definitely is two different types of conversation when you need to explain and to get to the point on some definitions or this answer this whys that they have. um it's super interesting and difficult, and yeah, and definitely you have to get a lot of soft skills there.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, but also technical skills. I was like, just like I said, I was talking with in the last, what's it, the last or the podcast before that, where I was talking with Tom Schaumberger, who's in a consulting company, and like he said, for them, I was talking afterwards. We were talking a bit because I was asking him like if it would be good to actually create a program for people that are within a company right now to educate them on the new patterns, on the new tools, and so on. And he said like a lot of people, managers, but also engineers in larger companies, they're still like on this old school track. They don't know the new stuff. They fear it a bit because they don't know it and they don't really have the resources or the connections with people to get into this. And that would also make their job easier, right? Because if they work with companies and the engineering team understands what is possible with the new things, then they would not be stuck with the old ways. I found that very interesting to actually to hear that. It was
Yeah, and also I'm thinking about, I know, for example, like the COBOL developer that needs to learn new stuff and is afraid of losing the thing, you know, like all the system is in COBOL. I know how to fix almost every bug in this development, and if they switch everything to, I don't know, Node.js, I need to learn JavaScript, and I'm not good at that. I have a super seniority on COBOL, and if I had to switch in here, uh, it's like AI right now, you know, like you say,
yeah.
hey, and I think that we have to deal with that. We are in technology. We need to like always keep learning and always like keep researching or reading or doing something related with uh, new topics. Perhaps just like a scan and say, hey, okay, this is the same as this. I don't want to read anymore about this, and you can like definitely discriminate which topic you need to learn or not. uh, but definitely something it's happening, and it's like fighting with AI. AI is already here, and it's a tool. We talk about that. It's a tool, and you need to learn how to use it, because in some places and in some parts of your development, it's super useful. So I think it's we need to switch to that mindset. To it's always something new going on, and we need to learn what is happening with that, or just to filter that information, you know.
Yeah, yeah. That's also why I created that new track for the academy. Like, is it so difficult to create a rack system? No. Is it so difficult to create an AI agent? No. I like 2 days ago I finished the first one, so that will come out most likely beginning August or mid August. Just a small agent that connects to Slack. You invite it then in a Slack channel and you ask questions, and it's going to answer through the LLM that you host locally with a Mistral LLM. Answer questions. First step. Is that difficult? No, do people make this as oh this is the big thing and it's so difficult and it's so new? Yeah, no. But it's good to know that right, as an engineer, that when people come over and talk about all this, like make a big hype about it and okay, call them on bullshit, and it's just okay. I understand how this works. Let me quickly go. There's a one chat, and Sharif actually asked about this, like if we see the chat on YouTube, but I didn't want to skip here because we were on a good topic. What do you think is a great and cool design pattern for a finance analysis platform? Flask Dash web app full of graphs and so on. I'm not 100% sure what this, like if he's just focused on the tools itself. How would you guys understand this?
I need more context
Yeah,
because
me too. Yeah.
Yeah, I
because
think
it's super different scenarios, you know.
yeah. I think generally this whole finance topic, or let's say processing of transactions, and that is a very interesting topic. A lot of students actually, and I just remember that one of the titles of this stream, the data that people are using in our coaching program. A lot of people use the fraud transaction topic, and I think there are two really cool patterns that you can build. One of them is actually having a client that fires off a transaction and wants to pay something, and then the actual platform then looks, is this a fraud, potential fraud or not, and then gives basically the information back. Is this am I letting this transaction through, or am I blocking this? So having like a pattern of, okay, the data gets streamed in, maybe through an API, then I have my detection, and then I get information back to the client. And it's not just APIs, but that's one of the things. And then the other is, okay, we're streaming the data through into some sort of a data store, and that can be a simple like analytical data store, Snowflake or whatever. And then you have a dashboards or front ends on top of that actually then query the analytical data. I think these two use cases are super interesting, to have like something that reacts in real time, and something where you feed the data in that can later then be analyzed.
Yeah.
Yeah, but specifically the tools, I think it's difficult to say which tools to use here. There was also another one here I really liked from Caden. How do you recommend approaching teaching the engineers in my team how to communicate better with non-technical colleagues?
Good one. I
Who wants
always
to?
think about this of trying to explain if I am like a grandma or a 5 years old child, you know. So like I try to think when I'm documenting, I'm trying to think how I will tell this to my grandma. And definitely she's out of, well, she's not that out of technology, but you know, you need to use like common terms or a lot of examples, like from daily life or perhaps sports, like I know. So that is my approach on that. uh,
Yeah, exactly. My strategy is also more or less similar. Yeah. So one key thing I learned over the past 10 years is, if you want the business people to understand like what you are doing or your technologies, you should understand what they are doing, and like try to relate in their context. You use like simple analogies in their terms, in their business terms, so that yeah, I usually start with the small stories, such business stories, like why we are writing this stored procedure or why we are using this tool, something like that. uh, it's like normally business people have more impact, to allocate budget or to support your work within the within your team or within the company. So like as a data engineer, it is your responsibility that you should understand the business a little bit, so that you
Mm.
explain like what you are doing to them, so that they are happy and they can vouch for you. So it's like two-way road. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is the right approach, but I would also say, like, how do you understand this, what they're doing? Asking questions, right?
Yep.
Asking them questions, how they basically, what are their problems, what do they want, to see it a bit more through their eyes. But also, like Santiago said, we engineers often have the problem of we talk as we're talking to engineers. And that is a big problem. Like, you should treat it as if like this person has no idea about engineering. I think that is, we often make it, and myself as well, we make it too complicated very often. And I think that is a big problem.
Yeah, and also something that usually happens is like we work with different and diverse people from all over the world, and the culture is something. Sometimes you can say something in some way in Argentina that it might sound rude in another part of the world, you know. So you also need to think about that and to, as Arockia says, try to embed into the like the listener or this two-way communication, try to understand the other part, you know, like with where do they live and what is important to them, and also sometimes try to map the business into like the final result you are expecting from what you are doing, you know, like for example, well, I will design this and it will reduce I know the cost or something. Try to map with something regarding the yeah, like something that is explainable for the people that is listening on that, you know. uh,
Yeah,
that
cost is a
is
good topic, Santiago. Cost is always important topic when you understand what
definitely
they're looking for.
definitely.
That's true. Yeah. So, but I think that gives Caden a good overview of like what to focus on. I think. There was one more question. This is a bit difficult from Kumar because there's context missing. I'm currently working as a production support engineer in a product-based company and want to transition to data engineering. Like, how can he make the switch? I don't know what a production support engineer does. That's the problem. Right? So for that, Kumar, if you can send us more information in the chat, then we can help. Otherwise, it's very difficult to understand to explain this. One thing I want to bring in, and I have that in our private chat here. If you wonder what I typed in the private chat, that's just for me, so that I don't forget it. One of our students, she's working right now on Azure, and she wants to get into Fabric, and I found that very annoying, the whole Fabric topic, because she's saying, like, yes, this is new, and she wants to get into this, but the documentation on Fabric is very thin, and you don't have on the internet a lot of use cases or like resources where you can see how other people have done it, and so it's a big problem of actually getting into Fabric for her, and I found that very annoying that they make it so complicated.
Yeah, that was definitely a talk between two engineers trying to say, "Hey, make we will make this tool one for all," and and they think that this is easy, but it isn't. You know, like trying to conglomerate everything in one place, and yeah, I'm not a good like developer on Azure. I don't have so much experience on that. But definitely I think that it's there are a lot of job description that ask for ADF and say, hey, do you have experience on Azure Data Fabric?
Yeah.
And
Well,
it's
that's usually Data Factory, I think.
okay, Data Factory. Okay, I mix I mix the terms there. Um, but yeah, definitely some these tools one for all makes someone go into a cloud, and then you can never get out there. You like you
Mm.
have a vendor lock definitely, and I always try to look for open source technologies and kind of decouple systems because of that, because sometimes in the long run you need to change, I don't know, perhaps the storage or something, and it's better when you have that decouple and you can switch to whatever you want.
Mm.
uh, yeah.
True. I mean, I just, for me, I opened it up here because I found this very annoying. Like, you have Event Hub on Azure, and then within Fabric you have something called Event Stream, right? So isn't this the same thing? Why do we need another name for this? I haven't tried this, but this looks like it's the same thing. Then you have Event House, which seems to be like some kind of a storage. Or why do we
Yeah,
need new names for all this?
yeah. I actually kind of feel this is the strategy of Microsoft going forward, Andreas. I
Yep.
recently cleared their data fundamentals certification. I'm just preparing for the Fabric. The reason is, yes, I agree. There are no documentations, and also many data engineers hate Fabric. They call it like data bricks from Temu, something like that. But but still, like this is where their roadmap is going. They want to bring every offering inside the Fabric, and I see like many companies nowadays in Germany for freelance or full-time positions, they are asking like, we need solid understanding of Fabric, where they just introduced Fabric some months ago. So it is gaining traction because it is from the Microsoft. It can be, yeah. I also heard they are working like really hard on this Fabric to make it more compatible in the future, to bring all under one umbrella and so on. But yeah, it is nice that like people from our bootcamp start to learn Fabric, but they should be like, kind. So they should not be faint hearted when they
Mm.
start doing the project, because they won't find any documentation at least for the next few months. I am sure that it will be like lot of, like, how to say, buggy
Yeah.
when you try to build something. So yeah, this is how it will be. Yeah, yeah. So like I also know who you mean. So we will try our best to support students to like
Yeah.
whatever interest they have, but yeah, we will also need to educate them that everything is the same concept, same logic. So yeah,
Yeah.
we need to like wait for some time.
Yeah, because like I find it very annoying that they have Event Hub, they have that Event Stream, they have Stream Analytics, which is not Fabric, and then they have in Fabric stuff. It's like, oh, why? Ah, but
I
they're
think
going this
that
way.
yeah, I think that also is a way to, for example, to be fighting the place with Google, because Google has like the whole ecosystem of Gmail, Google Drive, and all the stuff all over there, and Microsoft has Office, and it's kind of a way trying to integrate everything on some place, like plug and play, so you have I know OneDrive, and you have all your, or I don't remember this tool, uh like SharePoint or something like that.
Mm.
It was where they conglomerate everything. So I think they are trying to take the market of the people that is already with these Office suits and need to integrate all over an analytic platform and things like that. And they want just to, hey, click here and connect this, so you will have all your SharePoint data that you had collected like the previous 20 years, and just with a click you can do machine learning on that. It's like the same story.
Hmm.
uh, all over the internet.
True. Yeah, let's see where this goes. But I find I can also see why they do it, but oh, man. Yeah, Kumar actually replied here. We support clients issue design database schemas. That's already a good thing, that understanding how database design goes. Project go lives, perform issue analysis in SQL, when I pure data work. I like to play with data and solving data related issues, but I'm unable to find the way how I can upgrade. I mean, the question is, can you code a bit? That would be good. But what do you guys think?
Yes, so like this is the major problem I see from like many people, Andreas, who wants to jump into data engineering. They have this inferiority complex, or we could say like syndrome, something like that. Like they are doing stuff, but they kind of feel like data engineering is like high flying cloud stuff and so on, something like that. But it is not. It's like, it is the same stuff as like Kumar he mentioned in comment, like he is doing. So there are engineers in FANG company who are doing the same stuff. The only difference is, no, they try to keep up with the something like they always stay strong with their basics, and as well as try to read about new technologies that are evolving. That is the difference. So he's already doing data engineering stuff, to be honest, in my opinion. No, but still
Yeah.
he feels like I'm not doing. So this is the thing that needs to be addressed, to
Yeah, I think understanding a bit better which platforms he's using, where maybe he's lacking. Is it basically the processing of the data from working with APIs, getting the data from somewhere, working with data lakes, this kind of thing? Maybe that's missing for now. And how can you actually then integrate that with what he's already working with? Is it just database schemas, maybe relational, maybe dimensional? Like, how can you integrate this together? But generally,
Uh,
yeah, generally, I think getting a data set, figuring out what goals can I solve with this, and then I would just, like, if he's already working more on the analytics side, then adding more of the engineering in front.
Yeah, and also perhaps learn something about data warehouse design, like dimensional data modeling, and then perhaps using some type of tools if he already knows SQL, like DBT or something like that, and go deeper with that schemas, evolutions, and things to create some like medallion architecture, like that type of concepts,
Yeah,
and that can be the starting point for them, like going into different processing frameworks, and definitely some programming language. Yeah, I think that is how I will approach that.
yeah. I was just
That,
thinking, like, we have these roadmaps on learndataengineering.com for the academy, right? So looking into something like the beginner roadmap, and the thing is, you can leave stuff out, right? If you already like, this sounds like relational data modeling is not a big deal, then leave that out. Focus a bit on Python. This we could leave out, and then what you said, getting into dimensional modeling, feeding the data into it, start working with something like Snowflake, doing data transformations and evaluation, or yeah, quality checks with DBT, orchestrated, and then maybe move to AWS, Azure, GCP. That roadmap could actually fit. What's the other one for the software developers? It's kind of the same. For them, I was thinking like going more towards Docker, going more towards AWS in the beginning, AWS Databricks, right? Getting hands-on with these tools, and then building something with time series data, maybe. It depends a bit on what people are looking for, right? But I think these basics here are interesting. Yeah. Now, Kumar, look at these roadmaps on the website. I'm going to let me quickly add the ticker here. Like learndataengineering.com. Maybe these, I think these will help you. You need to see what you already know and then just leave it out and add it and start with the other stuff. All right, guys. I'm going to go. So I think we need to come to an end. And it was nice chatting with you as always. Thanks for the audience. Thanks for the awesome questions.
Definitely.
And then we see each other hopefully next week. I have on Wednesday a live event, so maybe not Thursday. We're going to let people know.
Okie dokie.
Sure. Thank you, guys. Yeah.
Guys, stay with me after I do end stream here. Stay with me for 2-3 minutes. Okay?
Yeah, sure.